and welcome back to Why So Curious, where we dive into the most curious questions, thoughts, and theories. Today, we're exploring one of the most infamous political scandals in American history, Watergate. This story has it all: break-ins, secret tapes, and a cover-up so massive it brought down a sitting US president. Our story begins on the night of June 17, 1972, when 5 men are caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. At first, it seemed like a simple burglary, but the situation quickly turned suspicious. The burglars were caught with wiretapping equipment, cash, and notebooks filled with incriminating information. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered a shocking connection. The burglars were tied to President Richard Nixon's re-election campaign, specifically to a group known as the Committee to Re-elect the President, often referred to as CREEP. Yes, you heard that right, CREEP. Their mission that night? To wiretap phones and steal confidential documents to gain an edge in the upcoming election. But the Watergate break-in was just the tip of the iceberg. It turned out the Nixon administration had been engaging in a pattern of shady activities for years. From dirty tricks campaigns to using government agencies like the FBI and IRS to harass political opponents, the break-in was simply one piece of a much larger operation. Here's where things get even more shocking. After the burglars were caught, Nixon and his top aides didn't just deny involvement, they actively worked to cover it up. They paid the burglars hush money to keep them quiet, instructed the CIA to interfere with the FBI's investigation, and lied to the American public, insisting the White House had no connection to the break-in. Meanwhile, 2 investigative journalists from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Bernstein, began digging deeper into the story. Their reporting, aided by an anonymous informant known as Deep Throat, revealed a web of corruption leading straight to the highest levels of government. Decades later, Deep Throat was revealed to be Mark Felt, the Associate Director of the FBI. As public pressure mounted, Congress launched a series of investigations. In 1973, the Senate Watergate Committee began holding televised hearings that captivated the nation. Millions of Americans tuned in as witnesses testified about the extent of the cover-up. Among the most damning testimonies came from John Dean, Nixon's former White House counsel, who implicated the president directly. Dean famously warned Nixon of a cancer on the presidency, but his warnings were ignored. Then came the bombshell: the existence of secret tape recordings from the Oval Office. Nixon had installed a system that recorded all his conversations. These tapes, once subpoenaed, revealed that Nixon had been directly involved in the Watergate cover-up, instructing aides to obstruct the FBI investigation just days after the break-in. The revelation of the tapes was the final straw. The House Judiciary Committee began drafting articles of impeachment against Nixon, charging him with obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and contempt of Congress. Realizing that he had lost the support of his own party, Nixon made the unprecedented decision to resign. On August 8, 1974, Nixon addressed the nation in a somber televised speech. He said, "I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first." The next day, Nixon became the first and only US president to resign from office. But the fallout from Watergate didn't end there. Several of Nixon's top aides, including White House Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman and Domestic Affairs Advisor John Ehrlichman, were convicted of crimes and went to prison. The scandal also led to sweeping reforms designed to prevent such abuses of power in the future, including campaign finance laws and the strengthening of oversight mechanisms. Despite these changes, the legacy of Watergate still raises critical questions. How much power should a president have? Who holds them accountable when they cross the line? And perhaps most importantly, can the public ever fully trust its leaders again? But now we want to hear from you. What do you think about the Watergate scandal? Was Nixon's resignation enough, or should he have faced legal consequences? Do you believe the reforms that followed truly addressed the problems exposed by the scandal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, tell us what topic we should explore next time. Is there a historical mystery or modern controversy that's been on your mind? We'd love to hear your suggestions. Until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions.